Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good day so far. We'll give a couple minutes for folks to join as people are trickling in into the Zoom meeting now. So we'll give another 2 minutes or so before we call the meeting officially to order. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the July 2022 General Membership Meeting of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. My name is Brian Graham, and I'm the county chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, and I'm calling this meeting to order. There are still some folks trickling in, and I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen for a second because just to get a look at some of the people in the room with us today on camera, give you an opportunity to wave and say hello. I think hopefully our next meeting in 2 months, we'll have a hybrid meeting, so we'll have an opportunity for folks to be in person as well as virtual, but we'll continue to provide virtual options. And let me share my screen again. So this meeting will be operated like the other meetings that we've had recently, electronically. If you'd like to speak or get the floor, if you would like to get the floor for to be recognized to speak or to make a motion, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. And then we can see the chat potentially, but I would ask that you not use the chat specifically for meeting business. We won't recognize you for meeting business typically from the chat meeting because we can miss items. We will also we may have an occasion. I don't know if we'll need it, but we might need to vote, and we'll use the Zoom poll feature for voting if the counting vote is required. You might need to exit the full screen view or swipe left or right on your tablet or phone to actually see the voting window when we do that. So we'll try to remind you to do that when we have that opportunity. The voting screen goes away after you've voted. Okay, that's the introductory instructions here. And now we're on to agenda and minutes. And at this time, I would open the floor if there are any changes to the agenda or to the minutes.
Vote to approve the minutes.
With that
agenda.
With that objection, there being no changes to the agenda or minutes, they are approved. And we can move on to, we're gonna go hopefully pretty quick here today. We're on to approval of new members. So the screen represents the new members who, in my understanding from the report from the Vice Chair of Membership, Christopher Schaefer, these are the people who have filed and been approved by their districts and are ready to be affirmed to membership of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. On the screen, I say, is there a motion and a second to affirm the election of these members? But I think we do actually need a poll for this one, so we can practice the poll feature.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Dan, do you have
Thank you. My usual question, have these folks all been vetted? And I guess since the vice chair for membership has reviewed them, maybe he could respond. Have they all been vetted to make sure they are not part of any anti-school board organizations, that they are in support of our values, particularly with regard to the school board?
My understanding is that I'll give the floor to Christopher. My understanding is that these members have been vetted as they have been in recent meetings. But Christopher, do you have anything to add?
Just that they have been vetted on the district level. So yeah, all the districts have vetted them.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, without additional discussion, we can launch the poll. Okay, so the question is, shall we approve the members that have been elect or affirm the election of the members who have already been elected by their districts? And the poll should be launched. Anyone else? I don't see any responses yet. Saddam.
There was somebody on the chat that said they're not on the list. I wasn't sure if they were referring to that they should be on the
I
voting list.
voted Brian.
Okay, people are voting. That's good. Let me look at that person's record real quick to see if we can confirm that. Christopher, if you can do that too at the same time, that would be great. But let me.
That's ours. Monica Price, I believe, is from Franconia District, and our membership chair was away on vacation. So we did not get our report in after we voted at our last meeting.
Okay, so unfortunately, that means that we need that Monica. Well, you're welcome, and thanks for joining us. That you will need to wait for the next meeting. That our bylaws require that the districts elect you before that.
Yeah, we did. We didn't report back to FCDC, unfortunately.
Right. So unfortunately, officially, we'll have to wait until our next meeting. So I apologize.
But Brian, she said that they voted her in.
Oh, that's not
They
what
just didn't tell us.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, if she is voted in, then she can be added to this list.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't have a
people-
problem with that either.
But people have already voted, so I'm going to say without objection afterwards this. But the poll has been up for 2 minutes, so let's go ahead and close the poll. Last opportunity to vote on the motion to approve members. And can someone else see the results? Because I can't see them. I'm assuming it.
It was 100.
100%
It was
yay.
100.
100%.
All yay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Without objection.
Landslide.
Without objection, we'll add Monica Price, Franconia District, as a voting member.
Can I ask the same question to the Franconia?
Yes,
members?
Dan, the answer is yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Let me add her to the list now. I apologize. Okay, well, let's move on.
I apologize.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks everyone for understanding. And we always have a bullet point on here for introduction to special guests. If there's someone that I should be recognizing here and that I don't know, please send me a message right now, or raise your hand. But this is usually when we might have an elected or someone else speak, but we didn't have any requests today. So I know we will have more to. I already have a request for 2 months from now. So so I know we'll have one then, but not seeing anyone seeking the floor, we can move on to the election for vice chair, voter registration, and education. And oh, I guess I'm not sharing my screen anymore. I'm looking at the agenda here myself. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, but maybe it was just, or I guess not. Camden Layton resigned as vice chair for voter registration and education. That gives us a vacancy, and per the bylaws, we fill those vacancies at of an officer at our next FCDC meeting. So this is where we are. We sent an email with our notification for this monthly meeting that indicated that people could declare that they were interested in this position. And the only folks that we had who raised their hands were Peggy Morrison from Mason and Rich Weiss from Providence, who are nominating themselves as co-chairs. And now I will ask if there are any other nominations from the floor.
Not a nomination, but Rich Weiss just noted that he's from Braddock District, not Providence.
Oh, that's entirely my fault. And I knew that. I really did. I have to fix this. That's why he was yelling at me on the. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, are there any other nominations? Hearing no additional nominations, the nominations are closed, and we only have Peggy and Rich as our candidates. So I would like to open the floor to Peggy and Rich to briefly say hello and talk about their plans for voter registration and education. Do either of you want to speak?
I'm
Please say hello.
Yeah. Hey, so Rich Weiss from Providence, apparently. No, from Braddock District. I've been a Braddock Dem for about 4 years. I've been in the VRE position for Braddock for most of them, while Janice was chair or vice chair for FCDC. I'm also a precinct captain of the Heritage District. And so, yeah, I guess with the recent announcement of Camden dropping or withdrawing or resigning, whatever it may be, Peggy and I have decided to kind of work together on it. And we have, there she is. We have some interesting goals, which is to kind of kind of consolidate the current list of team members for voter registration and education, and obviously seek lots of help and assistance from the membership on actual voter registration drives. The education piece is actually at this point, just considering it's still so early prior to the election, we've got good information that's just recently come out from
Board of Elections.
Yeah, about locations and polling locations, early voting, so on and so forth. Obviously, the most important topic, which we don't have information on, which is the piece that's most important to us, is obviously same day registration and voting. So the only piece that we know right now at this point is the fact that it looks like those people who show up to the polls unregistered will fill out a provisional ballot, which will then be managed after the polling closes and over those corresponding number of days. So anyway, without going into too much more, we're kind of excited. We think there's a bunch of stuff, and we're looking forward to working with precinct ops, who I think will be our best partners in crime, doing the needful to keep Fairfax County blue. So I'll stop there, and do appreciate your support if you so choose to give it to us.
The only thing I was going to add is we're going to try and, I guess, focus. We all have 1,000 great ideas. I think we're going to pick 3 and focus on those so that we can really get some stuff done. One of them being working on at George Mason University. I've been a Mason Dem for a while. I've just not decided to get that active until recently, and I guess I jumped in with both feet. I think Rich and I work well together. We've been on the committee together, working on the website and other things. So hoping this is going to go well, but we really do appreciate all the support you can give us.
Oh, if I can make one more comment, Sarah Losner made a comment. She made a direct message to me. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make it public, but her comment was related to other areas around us not getting a lot of volunteers to go do voter registration drives, and it's the truth. I know it in my own district, and I think it's primarily pandemic driven.
Some way, I don't know.
We have struggled. Sorry.
Continue, please continue.
Yeah, that's fine. We have struggled to get volunteers who are willing to go door to door. And that is even also been through the CD redistricting plan that obviously that's taken place. So yeah, volunteers are always or have been a struggle for 2 years. And there's going to be a lot of push content, sorry in advance, to really try to get people to come out and do the needful to support registering voters in those communities that we think are the best opportunities as we go into November. So I appreciate the comment. It is 100% true.
And of course, since I didn't know we were going to have to speak, I'm thinking of it now. One of the big things we're trying to focus on too is getting a Google Calendar up, and we're working with Brian and Jack on that, so that we can get activities up and share all that information among us. Hopefully that means the precincts will be able to look at it and say, hey, we got a voter drive on this day, or we have this on this day. So that's something that's very, very important to us, so that we can really have that information out there, know what you need, and be helpful, and also you all helpful to us. So that is it for me.
I'm not using my normal computer, so it's not working exactly as I want or expect. But without objection, being the only candidates, Peggy and Rich are elected as both vice chairs for voter registration and education. Congratulations to them both. And actually, let's see. Okay. The next order of business is treasurer's report. Nadia,
Hi, are you going to be able to put it up on the screen or are you?
can you not see it?
I can only see the agenda on the screen.
Oh, I have to click on the next, sorry. I was thinking you couldn't see my screen. There you go.
Yeah, okay. So this treasurer's report is kind of deceptive because we're kind of in flux as we are collecting money from the Blue Fairfax dinner. It doesn't really show the money that we've collected from there yet. So what it does have is it shows what is actually in the books at FCDC inside our, and it doesn't show all the credit card contributions that came in this month for that event. So let me just start by saying where we are right now. We started the year with $123,000 in the bank, and we have $82,000 in the books, but we've got a lot more in the bank. And for those of you who are not coming next month, the September meeting, it will be clear how much we've made, how much more we have. The other money that's in FCDC's accounts, there's 20,000 roughly for the Lillian and Abe Spiro Fund, which is used for certain grants related to youth and voter registration. And then there's 152,000 in the bank in reserve for our district committees, who should probably have plans to spend some of that. If you can see how much each district committee has in their federal and their non-federal accounts on the next page. Altogether, FCDC has 203,000 in the bank or so, 253,000, sorry, in the bank. And just so you know that the Blue Fairfax dinner did quite well, considering that because of COVID, we didn't get our usual crowd, but we did really well with the auction and the ads. And I'm sure Saddam will want to tell you more about this, but I think we almost made our budget, which is pretty good. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.
All right, thank you, Nadia. The next part of the agenda is the chair's report, and I guess I'll go more fully on camera for that. I just have a couple things quickly today. Probably most important, as I'm looking for my notes. Just a reminder that we have a code of conduct, especially as we start to do things in person again. And you can see the code of conduct on the Fairfax County Democrats website, fairfaxdemocrats.org. If you go to your party and then conduct, just generally it talks about how we are, our intent as a committee is to be friendly and welcoming, considerate, respectful. But specifically, it is our duty to not discriminate, harass, bully, intimidate, or commit other exclusionary behavior, right? And particularly prejudicial, but also threats, just other harassing behavior, et cetera, right? So just a reminder, we really want to be, especially as we head into the next year where we're going to have primaries and all kinds of, we're going to divide ourselves a little bit, and we're not always going to agree on things. So we can, to quote Tilly Blanding, we can disagree agreeably. We are still working on evaluating candidates for finance director, but I think within the next week or so, we'll have them scheduled for interviews, and we'll kind of push forward there on that decision making. So we don't have a decision yet, but the plan really, my plan is to have a decision ready for the next steering committee meeting, because the steering committee must kind of approve the personnel committee decisions. And then next, I'd like to say that I have, as chair, under my authorities, I am appointing a task force for caucus rules, and I have to give an express purpose of a limited purpose to this, and the purpose of this task force is to create draft rules intended for FCDC endorsements in 2023. So a lot of people have concerns about how we're going to endorse for school board next year, especially with the bylaws change that we had, I guess about 3 years ago now, that says that we must have caucuses of voters for our endorsement votes. So we'll put together some rules, think about kind of the current environment and how everything should work. And then the other part of that that task force job is to recommend any changes if necessary, if any, to the FCDC bylaws that might be needed to enable those rules. So that's just kind of considering whether or not in the current environment, everything using the current bylaws is what we want to do. And to that task force, I'm appointing myself, Greg Brandon, who's the C3 committee chair, Donna Rostand, our council, Andrew Scalise from Springfield District Chair and the Assistant Treasurer, Stephanie Sedgwick, who's Vice Chair North, Julie Waters, Dranesville District Chair, Michelle Wiss, the Education Committee Co-Chair, and Aaron Yohai, Braddock District Chair. Those are the members of that committee who over the next 90 days will take the task that I had laid out. And then lastly, I just want to thank everyone for their support in the Blue Fairfax dinner. I guess not everyone knew it was the Jefferson Obama dinner, and not everyone felt comfortable coming in person, which is totally understandable. But we did seem to have a very successful event, and we'll continue to have more events, fundraiser events. So at this point, actually, as I head into the I guess I'll share the agenda for on the screen again for a moment. As we head into Vice Chair Committee and caucus reports, I'd like to give the floor to the Vice Chair of Finance, Saddam Salim, to give a brief update of thanks for the Blue Fairfax dinner.
Yep, I'm here. Hey everyone. Oh, I didn't realize this. Oh, sorry, I have something else opened up that's on my end. Yeah, we did really well, and I just want to thank everyone who attended along with the Finance Committee. It took us months in the making in order to make this all successful behind the scenes. A huge thank you to Jack actually for doing a lot of the visual stuff that we had on along with the program and all that, and Pete as well. But overall, we did well in this event. We had Jamie Raskin as the guest speaker or keynote speaker. So overall, this was a very successful event. I don't know if you want me to go into details about numbers, but I won't do that now. But in the upcoming near future, we will have a sustainers brunch along with a few other fundraising events that will come up soon. So be on the lookout for all that.
Okay, thanks, Saddam. I know it looks like we did get very close to our goal, our budgeted goal for this event, even with kind of lower turnout than usual. So I am very I'm very happy about that, and I thank everyone again for their support. Are there any other vice chairs? Oh, I guess I know Irv sent an email, and he wanted to add to the agenda discussion about the event. I don't know how much detail I want us to go into the discussion, but we certainly do want your feedback if you attended the event. Things that we can improve, things we can do better. I know we had not everything in the silent auction at the end went completely smoothly, but I think overall things went very well. So we certainly welcome your input. I don't know that I want everyone's input right now in this meeting, but we would like to hear it, and you're welcome to send it to us or come to a finance committee meeting or I don't know, whatever. But Irv, I will recognize you.
Thank you very much, Brian. I just very briefly I wanted to thank all of you who made it such a successful event. And there was a great amount of people that turned out, and it was just great to have Jamie Raskin there. He's quite a fighter. And we'll be looking forward to the numbers because it's important in terms of that. I just only had one comment for Saddam, and I think we had talked about it with regard to how the events are set up when there are VIP hours. Generally, the experience has been there's a VIP reception, So the big guys, really get to come there at initially, and then everyone else is a chance. It didn't quite turn out that way at the Blue Fairfax dinner. All the VIPs and so forth kind of went right into the dinner. So just as a comment, whether that was the intention or just Saddam, it just kind of accidentally went that way. But I appreciate that so that, everybody here can see what we'll do for the next time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Paul, do you have a report or?
Yes.
Okay, it's not related to the Blue Fairfax here. Okay, well, let's go to you and then we can go to, so we'll go through our regional vice chairs now, I suppose, and go ahead, Paul Jameson.
Okay, thanks. I don't know if this is a different computer, so I'm not quite sure how well you can hear me, but hopefully you can hear me enough. So as you all know, we've been working on a strategy for next year's elections, especially the school board elections, with the goal of taking the fight to the Republicans and making sure that we're not just playing defense on that, and having a real robust strategy and involving all the school board candidates that we endorse to really make sure that we totally dominate the school board races this year. As far as progress on that, we are putting together a strategy paper. The information gathering phase of that is fairly close to being complete, at least for the first draft. They'll be added to as we go along. The next phase involves messaging, crafting, and then implementation of it. In that regard, we have put together a team of people to do things like communications, marketing, research. We could still use someone whose day job already has the contacts in media relations, because we want to be able to do that with some more robustness than we've had in the past. So if you have experience with media relations and you'd like to join the team, you can email me at south@fairfaxdemocrats.org and let me know if you're interested in helping out with that. And so that's where we are at this point. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Paul. And I guess I'll say that's south, like the direction south at fairfaxdemocrats.org.
Right.
Okay. Stephanie, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just want to update everybody on how things have been going. We had a successful door hanging campaign notifying people who'd been moved from CD11 to CD8 before that primary. We have a small group that's going to be doing that for selected precincts who have been moved into CD11 moving forward. We have an ongoing campaign in which we're sending out letters about redistricting. That also includes a fundraising ask. And so it's self-funding. As the money comes in, we send to more homes. So we're up to 9,000 households already. We're also going to be working on the GOTV materials for the fall, which are postcards and door hangers for people. And we're also developing a social media campaign, building off what's already happened in the farm markets and increasing the number of Democrats that are on our list that we reach. And we're also in the middle of formulating our coordinated campaign. It's a small campaign this year because we just have the House of Representatives, but it'll involve chasing voters who have put themselves on the automatic absentee ballot list, but who don't vote often. So trying to make sure we get those voters into the habit of voting based on feedback we got from Byers' campaign in the primary, where 20,000 of his votes came from people who had asked to be put on the automatic absentee ballot list. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Any questions? If not, I'll let Brian move on to another chair.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. I know we have a resolution on the agenda, but are there any other committees or caucuses or chairs who'd like to speak? Peggy, newly elected co-chair for VRNE. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask that Stephanie, that we can coordinate some of the stuff that you're working on. We have an email address and it's on the website, but I can't remember it right at the moment, but really appreciate anybody getting out to us. Any stuff they're doing, so we can be whatever help we want and whatever help you need, okay?
Yeah, so I'm available at north@fairfaxdemocrats.org, and if you just shoot me an email, we can set up a meeting as soon as possible.
Awesome, great, thank you. Next, Senator Clausen, Chair of National Affairs Committee.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to ask you to let you know that the National Affairs Committee will be having one of our forums on Thursday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. The title of it is A Republic, If You Can Keep It, and which I'm sure you all know what that refers to, of our founding fathers. We have guest speakers who will talk about the danger to our republic and what we are advising that can be done to save it. We all know the situation we're in now with the January 6th committee. So of course, we'll be addressing what we know at that time as well. So we hope you will hold this place on your calendar, and we'll look forward. I see, okay, September 22nd. It's a Thursday. The event will start at 7 o'clock. It will be virtual. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, Maritza Zermeño, Chair of the FCDC Latino Caucus.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everybody. I just want to share with you the Latino Caucus General Meeting is this Thursday. Marvin Hernandez with CASA in Action will join us. CASA is the foremost grassroots Latino and immigrant organization in the Mid-Atlantic. They have more than 122,000 lifetime members in Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Marvin will be sharing successful ways to encourage Latinos to participate politically. And in other terms, the Latino Caucus had a real success with our Cantina Latina basket at the Blue Fairfax dinner that contained a variety of spirits and snacks found in cantinas throughout Latin America and sold for $500 after a bidding war. So that was a good go-go. The Caucus is getting a website app using the FCDC system, so watch for more interesting developing there. Latinos in Fairfax County do not participate in our political system as much as they could. I invite everyone to join us in the Latino Caucus to activate the Latino community, because if we're successful, we will never again have to worry about radical Republican control of Virginia. You can register to a Thursday meeting on the FCDC calendar. Check us out and think about joining. And we have a friend, his name is Federico Cura. He's passionate about helping them to improve the way we communicate. He likes to raise awareness about the need of change in them's communications and language. So he's starting a club where there will be discussions about different aspects of communicating, analyze political ads, etc., especially messaging and a better way to connecting with the voters. So feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, and I'll hope to see you on Thursday.
All right, thanks, Maritza. Any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to what I'm assuming, although I haven't seen. Okay, which I am assuming will probably start off from a brief report from the state and local chair, Nora Dell.
Great. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brian. I just have like a very brief statement about the changes that we've made. So this is the second time that we're seeing this resolution. We wrote this resolution originally to address a discrepancy basically in how we saw mobile home owners being treated as opposed to landowners in regards to being informed about the changes to the county's comprehensive development plan. So you can read more about that in the resolution. Our main goal was and remains to make a statement on our values as Democrats, that we believe in a fair and inclusive process for all residents. we heard some concerns about our old resolution, that it was perhaps a touch too prescriptive in terms of policy. And so we've edited this version to remove that prescriptive part of it. And we also believe that that removes the question of the legality about what we're asking the Planning Commission to do. And so we're satisfied with this resolution being more about a statement of our values and aspirations, and to leave that specific policy, including determining what is feasible and how to carry this out to the policymakers and the lawyers at the Board of Supervisors. In the process of revising, we consulted with relevant experts, including several members of the Planning Commission, attorneys, and state delegates. And we actually found that our resolution aligns pretty well with some of the more recently stated goals of our Planning Commission and our Board of Supervisors, which who are already seeking to increase inclusion and community engagement in the planning process. So that's great. And yeah, I guess to sum it up, we believe that this resolution supports our Democratic Board of Supervisors and lifts up the voices of mobile homeowners and renters who collectively make up about 30% of our county, who we really want to make sure are not forgotten in this process, while affirming our commitment as a Democratic Party to fair and inclusive democratic processes, especially in the planning process. So yeah, we ask for your support on this resolution and welcome all questions and comments.
Am I on? Oh, I can't. I am. Okay.
Or should people raise their hand or?
Yeah. So, so the resolution now is on the floor for consideration. I guess I'll remind folks that we have limitation on those, or on a 2-minute limitation on speeches regarding the motion, and 10 minutes for and 10 minutes against total. And I'll try to alternate. I only see one hand raised so far, but if you would like to speak on this motion, go ahead and raise your hand to get into the queue. But now I would like to recognize Chris Falcon from the Mason District. Hey, Chris.
Thanks, Brian. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Chris Falcon. I'm a Mason District representative on state and local affairs. I'm speaking in favor of the resolution tonight. First off, I just wanted to say I appreciate all the work that went into putting this together, especially to Nora, Eliza, and Deborah Woolen in our committee, but also to the other members and non-members of state and local affairs that attended our past 2 meetings and gave their time on this important issue. My thanks also to steering for passing it through unanimously. Obviously, I was a bit disappointed it didn't pass in May, but I also understood the concerns that were brought forward by other FCDC members. They made sense. I believe the resolution has now been worded in a way that should not cause those concerns, hopefully this time around. Bottom line, we should strive to inform all of our neighbors about zoning and housing changes, regardless of whether they're owners or renters. I realize we can't mandate that under current law, but we should strive to do a better job at outreach to all neighbors. I'm voting in favor, and I urge everyone else to support the resolution tonight.
All right, thank you, Chris. Next hand I have raised is Phil. Phil, would you like to speak in favor or against?
In favor.
Okay, I'm going to put you in the queue for a second, as I and I believe Jerry also wants to speak in favor.
Yes, in favor.
Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to speak against the motion? Okay, not seeing anyone else to recognize at this moment. I will recognize Phil. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. Phil Najelski-Eichner. I'm a planning commissioner representing Providence District, and was one of the key, raised a key concern during one of our public hearings about a manufactured home set of properties adjacent to a development that we were considering. And it was of concern to the Planning Commission that the residents who were owners of their homes, but not the property underneath the homes, were not consulted in the process of considering this application, or was not consulted by the applicant for the rezoning that was adjacent to on an adjacent property. So this reinforces a practice, I believe, that's been on the commission for as long as I've been on the commission for 6 years. But it's very helpful to reinforce the importance of it, and therefore I support it. Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you. And not seeing other hands, Jerry Pogge, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just be very quick. I just want to urge us all to think about the history of housing in Fairfax County. It's not been equitable. We've had racial covenants that would have excluded people because of their skin color. There are far more members of our BIPOC community who are renters and therefore not included in notices about nearby land use changes. And this makes enormous sense for the Democratic Party to be supportive of expanding outreach to people who are currently renters, non-homeowners, but who would hope for better land use policies that would give them a better leg up on having affordable homes. So I just urge everybody to incorporate our history of racial exclusion that afflicts everybody in the Commonwealth, but also in Fairfax County, to say it's about time that we start to redress those horrific policies. It's not just asking for forgiveness, but it's actually changing the policies to atone for bad practice in the past. So I urge us all to vote yes on the proposition. Thank you, Brian.
Is there any other discussion? Not seeing any other discussion. Phil, did you have another point that you had?
Yeah, Brian, just very quickly. I don't know, it probably doesn't matter at this stage. In land use parlance these days, we don't use mobile homes. We use manufactured homes. It's a nit, but you'll find in the literature and in the national debate on these matters, manufactured homes are the focus, or is the term that's used for these types of homes.
Okay. Thank you. Not seeing any other discussion, and I'll say and make sure that people can speak if they need to or raise their hand if they need to. Without objection, that means if no one objects, we will adopt this resolution unanimously. So this would be the moment to do so. Seeing no objections, the resolution passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And now I can open the floor in what is always a dangerous time for new business. Is there any other new business? I will recognize Jerry Pogge.
Thank you, Brian.
Sorry, you got muted again. I might have pressed.
Sorry, I thank you, Brian. I just, too often we don't acknowledge the good work being done by our boards of supervisors. And just today, the boards of supervisors responding to an appeal from our local Fairfax NAACP recognized that there is enormous endangerment to people from hyperthermia, people dying from extreme heat. All of us reflecting upon the terrible situation in the past week and knowing that climatic change extremes are an ever-present threat. Today, the boards of supervisors responded affirmatively and directed staff to explore the immediate and long-term solutions to hyperthermia. We have programs regularly in the wintertime to shelter poorly housed or unhoused people from winter cold. It's so important that we expand that to the extremes of heat during the summertime. And our boards of supervisors stepped up to the plate and asked for a report from staff very quickly this week on how we're going to better deal with immediate and long-term hyperthermia, overheated situations for people who are poorly housed. That would include our homeless as well as people who might live in housing without assured cooling situations. So I think we should all celebrate our good Democratic board members in stepping up to the plate and wanting to build better policies for our county. And we should offer them our accolades, but also tell our voters, join the Democrats because we're the parties that solve these kinds of problems. The other party does nothing to even acknowledge climate change extremes, and this is where we shine. So thank you, Brian.
All right, thanks, Jerry. I guess before we get into if there are other announcements, I just want to make sure that folks who have their hand raised are trying to. We're in the section for new business. So if we'd like FCDC to do something before we get to announcements, this is the time we would do it, and then we can get into announcements. So I see Liz still has her hand raised. So I recognize Liz Walker from Sully.
Thank you. I was just wondering, has there been any discussion about doing anything for back to school nights this year?
Yes, we will. So we will have materials for back to school nights. They may not be as pretty as they usually are, but it will be more obvious that we are giving them political materials, basically, probably this year. But there is concern that Open FCPS and others will be there as well. So we want to organize to make sure that we're there, support of our school boards, and I think Stephanie probably wants to say something related to that as well. So I recognize Stephanie Sedgwick to do so.
Okay, thanks. So I'm sorry that I forgot about that. So what we're planning to do is we're going to be handing out for people who have in-person back to school nights and have the staff to staff them. We're going to have sample ballots available. And on the flip side, we're going to have a message. That message is going to be crafted for whatever's happening, that week. So responding, because as we see, the news cycle is kind of driving us to different messaging week after week. So we will have those available. And of course, we have our signage, and anyone who wants to discuss with me the options they have for signage for that night, please contact me at north@fairfaxdemocrats.org. But we will have sample ballots. So we'll be printing them as we need them and sharing them from one committee from one group to another. Because as you know, it's a kind of a 5-week span of back to school nights. So if you have leftover sample ballots, we're going to ask you to give them back to us so that we can do this as economically and efficiently as possible. Okay, thanks.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Are we all the different districts responsible for looking up the schedule ourselves for the different schools?
Okay, so we're waiting. They still haven't released the schedule of back to school nights, so I'm waiting for that to come. Then I'll be working with the different committees to find out what they're doing. But I'll be working with the chairs on that to say, tell us which ones you guys are going to staff and precinct ops. So right now there's no schedule, but we've been told it's still very early for the schedule to be put out.
I know last year when I did it, we missed a lot of the schools because they had already taken place. And I know it wasn't a formal.
Yeah, they just have not. I mean, they haven't released the schedule yet. So, but I'm waiting for that. We're looking for it. So yeah, as soon as I have it, I'll alert everyone in precinct ops and all the district chairs.
Well, I see Michelle has raised her hand. I'm assuming it's, well, I don't know. Is this in relation to this topic, or is this another topic?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Oh, it's okay. And the other hand that we have raised right now is Andrew. I don't know which Andrew.
Hi, it's Andy Pavord. I just wanted to tell you, I'm making an announcement. I don't know.
Okay, well then I'll put you at the top of the queue for announcements. Is there any other new
Okay.
business? Okay, seeing no additional new business, we can move on to announcements. And I will recognize Andy Pavord, Chair of Providence District, for the first announcement.
Hello, everyone. I just want to let you know that we're starting back our chair chat series. Tomorrow night, we're having Delegate Kay Corey. I put the link in the chat room. It's a great chance to have a chat with her about any issue you care about. And then a week from tomorrow on August 3rd, we're having Chair of the County Board of Supervisors, Jeff McKay. So these are really nice events. You can come and ask him any questions you want and have a chat. So I invite you all to come. It's sponsored by Providence, but all are welcome. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Andy. I was going to recognize myself first, but you snuck in there. So DPVA, the Democratic Party of Virginia, is starting to have, of course, they have a big annual fundraiser, but they're starting to have smaller fundraisers, more regional fundraisers, and their first one will be in Northern Virginia at Mark Herring's home on September 22nd at 6 p.m. So you can come to the fundraiser and support DPVA, and then hop at 7 o'clock. You can hop on for Sandra Clausen's National Affairs presentation. So well, more details will come out about that, but you can add that to your calendar now to save the date. And I now next recognize Maggie Gobbold.
Hi, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm fresh back from Borneo, and I wanted to follow up that great kudo about our Board of Supervisors to mention that I'm going to be giving our annual Almost Autumn fundraiser for Supervisor Kathy Smith. It's going to be on Saturday, September 3rd from 1 until 3 in the afternoon. Our guest speaker will be the chair of the Board of Supervisors, Jeff McKay. It's not on the calendar yet, but it will be on the calendar later this week once I've sort of gotten myself organized. So please put that on your calendar and plan to come. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
All right, welcome back, Maggie. Next we have Joanne Collins.
Thank you. Brian, could I just clarify the date of that Herring fundraiser? Is it the 22nd, which is a Thursday night, or is it till the 24th, which is a Saturday?
It's a Thursday. It's the 22nd.
Okay, thank you. All right, so FCDC Precinct Ops is going to be highlighting different canvases for different congressional district races. So I'm just here to talk about a canvas that's happening this Sunday, the 31st, 1 o'clock in Sterling, with Rep. Jennifer Wexton and Atusa Risa, who is this Algonquian School Board representative out in Loudoun County. So would love to have as many Fairfax Democrats come to that canvas, which is in Sterling, and it's literally just over the line next door to Herndon. So I'll put that in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Next I recognize Chris Falcon.
Thanks, Brian. Hi again, everyone. I'm Chris Falcon, and I'm running to be your clerk of the circuit court in next year's election. I'm a Virginia attorney, and I've been practicing for 15 years, and I live in Annandale with my wife, Jackie, and our kids. Sorry if this sounds repetitive. I've met some of you as I've been making my rounds around the district committee meetings over the past 2 months, and that's been an awesome experience. I've had the pleasure to work with a lot of you since I met you in 2013 when I was a field organizer during the coordinated campaign that year. And you opened your homes and hosted phone banks, launched canvases, held meet and greets, and did all that important work that it takes to win elections. Others of you I met when I was volunteer voter protection attorney during the 2014 campaign cycle for Senator Warner. And others of you I know as a Mason District Dem, where I've been a part of for over 4 years now, and where I serve as a precinct captain. I've served as deputy clerk and legal counsel at the Arlington Circuit Court for the past 8 years, and I'm a lifelong Fairfax resident. I grew up in Mantua, and my parents still live there. I went to Woodson High School, and I graduated from Woodson. The number one question I've been getting on the campaign trail these past 2 months is, clerk of the court, is that an elected office? Or what does the clerk do? I don't take offense to that question. Let me tell you, the position dates back to 1619 in the Virginia Constitution. And the Code of Virginia lists over 800 distinct responsibilities for the clerk. But the ones that you're probably most familiar with are issuance of marriage licenses, recording deeds, and registering wills. The problem that exists is too often here in Fairfax, when you need to get a copy of your court records, because of usually a major life event, having to register a child in school, or because you're now retirement age and you have to provide certified copies of marriage licenses or other documents. But there's currently no efficient way to do that without taking time off of work or having to get childcare and pay for transportation to go to the Fairfax courthouse. I want to change that. If you don't want to go in person, you're often told, well, send a FedEx request if it's urgent. I think we can do better than that. I believe we should be providing access to those records over our website and allow customers to pay with a credit card. These are public records, and there's other places that are doing that around the Commonwealth. We need to use technology when we can and stop wasting people's time. And this is exactly what I did when I implemented an online marriage license application, an online name change form, and also a jury orientation video that allows people to see what to expect when they come in for their jury service. Deciding to run was not an easy decision. I did not make it lightly. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old. I'm running because we need a clerk of the court in Fairfax that will take into consideration all county residents whenever we make a decision, and not just the residents that can afford to take time off and go in person to do their business. We can find other ways to do that. And I will make sure that we are upholding the principles of one Fairfax at the clerk's office. Lots more to come. I know the election is not till next year, but again, I appreciate all your time. I'm Chris Falcon, and the website is Falcon for Fairfax.
All right, thanks, Chris. Of course, clerk of the court is one of the 2 Republicans that are left representing Fairfax County specifically. Of course, we have the statewide now, but so I'm looking forward to whoever ends up being the nominee being the Democratic clerk of the court for the next 8 years. So thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize Jimmy Bierman.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. I'm Jimmy Bierman. I just wanted to tell you all about a great opportunity to get involved in the fight for abortion rights coming up next week. On Monday night, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia is holding a phone bank to call Kansas voters. You may have heard that on August 2nd, voters will go to the polls in Kansas and will consider whether to amend the state constitution to take away the right to abortion. It's been an effort that's been basically rigged from the start. They're holding it on primary day when there are far more Republican primaries than Democratic primaries. If you vote yes, you're actually voting against abortion rights, because that is yes to amend the Constitution. So it's a very complex thing. And also Kansas has closed primaries. That's why it's imperative that we call people and get them out to vote, even if they're Democrats, even if they don't have a primary to vote for, and we get them to vote no, which will actually preserve the right to abortion in Kansas. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If anyone can join August 1st, Monday, 6 o'clock, it'll be a great time to make phone calls the night before the election. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Next is Albert Vega.
Thanks, Brian. My name is Albert Vega. Just want to let people know that I'll be hosting a door hanger event at my house on the 31st. Hopefully it won't be 1,000,000 degrees. Again, just want to help people realize that their precincts might change and who they're voting for. All right, thanks. I'll drop a link for the Springfield Dems where you can sign up for it.
All right, thank you. And thanks for organizing that. Next is Susan Johnson.
Oops. Hi, everybody. Along the lines of keeping people or engaging people in the campaigns of somewhat endangered Democrats, I did want to let you know that we have phone banks every Tuesday night for Elaine Luria from Virginia's 2nd District. And her campaign as a whole has them every Tuesday and Thursday nights, but on Tuesday nights, you can join a special one that is just for folks in Northern Virginia. And you can either do it via Zoom, or if you miss the old fashioned camaraderie of, gathering at somebody's house and having snacks and, chit-chatting a little bit in between calls, you are welcome to come to my house and make calls in person. So I'm going to drop the link to sign up in the chat, and I hope to see you in person or on Zoom making calls for Elaine. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Susan. Next, is that Ben Zoll? I can't hear you. I can see you're not unmuted, but I can't hear you. While Ben's working on that, I'll recognize Marvin Sue Rosenberg.
Yes, I just want to announce that we're going to do a door hanging event for Jerry Conley at my house on on August 13th. And I'm hoping that, unlike other events that I've planned for Jerry, that this one will not have rain or snow or heat or glue of night. But anyway, but please come. It'll be in for Drangeville District door hanging.
Yeah, snow in August would be incredible, but we'll find a way. Ben, can we hear you yet? No, I cannot hear you.
Chat, where is?
Okay. Well, I guess keep trying, or put something in chat and I can read it for you. And then I guess Jerry is the last hand.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I just want to announce that on August 14th, Sunday, we'll be doing our traditional rally. We've been doing this for nearly a decade at the NRA to protest the gun violence promoted by the National Rifle Association. We've been doing this for almost a decade after the Sandy Hook tragedy. And from 2 to 3 p.m., there'll be a gathering of people in vigil to recognize the horrific crime of gun violence in America. This is quintessentially a winning issue for Democrats, and anybody who really wants to feel the passion of the moment, come out. You'll meet the best people imaginable helping to advance the cause on this policy issue. But Sunday, August 14th, from 2 to 3 p.m. at the National Rifle Association. I'll post something in the chat and also send off to Jack for the calendar.
Okay, thanks. Ben, try to give it to you again. No, I still can't hear you. Oh, okay. Ben says he wanted to give Catherine Reed's website since she has been helpful to us. Catherine Reed, of course, I think has already been mentioned, is running for mayor of the city of Fairfax against the Republican. So of course, she would appreciate our support. Read for fairfaxmayor.com, and that's in the chat as well. And I think there'll probably be opportunities to help organize and get people out for that as well. But thanks for that, Ben. Not seeing any other hands, and there being no further business for this committee, we are adjourned. Our next county meeting is September 27th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. Actually, sorry, I meant to change that. It is the last day of Rosh Hashanah, and I think the initial decision was to push the meeting time back so I believe, probably pending the acceptance from a school and whatever, or wherever our location will be, we would like to have a hybrid meeting as well. So we will send more details out as we actually have an actual location, but we would like to try to resume hybrid meetings for people to attend in person if they like, but also for people to continue to attend virtually. And of course, if you haven't seen it before, go to our website, fairfaxdems.org or fairfaxdemocrats.org. You can click at our calendar. Our calendar has all of our district meetings, our caucuses, our committee meetings. We'd love to see you at our next meeting. They're all open to the public. So that's it. In what may be one of the shorter FCDC meetings in a very long time. Thanks everyone for your attention. I hope you have a good Tuesday. Wow, what day is it? Tuesday and a good rest of the week. Thanks everyone.